Welcome back. And let me announce now the next panel, which will be devoted to the SME finance topic. And let me invite the moderator of the panel, Michał Pawlik, CEO at Polish fintech, factoring fintech SMEL, and also head of technology team at Polish Factors Association. Michał, hello and welcome.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. It's really nice to see you online. Unfortunately, online, as all of us like now to be with people on a meetings as previously as last year, but it's more difficult nowadays. But let's start our online panel and let's welcome first presenter and first our guest, Daniel Huszar, who will present his presentation for the first 15 minutes. Daniel represents the company efcom. Daniel, please.
Thank you so much, Michał, and thank you, Elena, for having me. It's an honor, and yeah, very much looking forward to this panel. I will just let's say set the mood for this panel and touch upon some topics that are close to my heart in these times. And let me just preface this that I think we heard a lot of predictions even before COVID, which turned out to be wrong. And I mean, concrete predictions how the situation will develop are very hard, are incredibly hard. What we can do, however, is look at certain trends in digitization, general trends that have been there before, and how the landscape developed. And by this, we can think of scenarios. And I think we will have a fascinating panel also about that, where we have also very good questions to talk about risk, for example. And what we're able to do is to extrapolate from these trends and from these scenarios, and and still prepare and still be prepared for a lot of these scenarios unfolding. But to do that, what I feel is that we need to go to let's say the essential implications of this crisis. And and it works perfect. And this is, while this is of course very tongue-in-cheek, what is the driver of this transformation, the CEO, the CTO, or COVID-19? That was a meme posted on Twitter some months ago. There's a lot of truth to this tweet, I think, and because what it means, besides the humor in it, is that this is a forced change. We did not decide to do this. No one wanted to do all of this, but it's kind of a forced and fast-track digitization that some were prepared better to perform than others. But I think we all adapted. I mean, look at how this conference is organized, for example. It's pretty amazing that we can do that. And some of these digital roads, they have been there already, and some of these technologies have been there already. They just weren't used as much because they didn't have to. We had other channels, and now we are forced to communicate and to sell to our clients through the digital road, so to speak. And if we look, these are the technologies that I also like to talk about, like blockchain, and I will talk briefly about artificial intelligence and these kind of things. Just a second. Briefly about AI, but I just hope you can see the slide with the cloud now, because with the word cloud now, but because I don't see it. So this is the caveat that I want to bring up with all these technologies, like complex and intellectually challenging technologies, is that, of course, they are full of promise, but some of them are not fully fleshed out. And some of them are not that useful in a crisis like this, exciting and full of promise, because we are back to basics. We had to figure out how to work within a home office environment, for example. We had to figure out, sometimes I had problems with my bandwidth. I just moved, so it's a horrible. I can't think about blockchain. I need fast internet. Yeah, and to basically to drive this point home, some of this really feels like this. Mid 90s, we're in a desktop environment. We are exploring the internet, or let it be early 2000s. Beeping modem sounds and stuff like this. But the thing that we want is to be ready for a mobile environment. We want to be, these are the roads that are being paved now, and we are lucky that we have them. Imagine that this crisis came to be much, much earlier, like in the mid 90s, and without this strong internet connectivity, that we really couldn't do much. There wouldn't be digital roads. And this environment has very strong implications, because it means that we have over 3.5 billion mobile devices in the world of 2020, which is insanely high, and not because a smaller screen is now always the better solution. Some things are much better left specialized. Softwares like our very own specialized factoring software is in a lot of cases better suited for a desktop environment. But this is the environment that we are facing, that we have a mobile internet, a very small screen, that we have a very impatient new customers, the millennials and Generation Z after them. And so we need to be prepared for that. And it is, and now it is the only way to kind of communicate with our customers during lockdown. And what I will do, I will establish two main points, main paths, and a mindset to kind of, let's say, attack all the different scenarios and how they will play out, and no matter what the next big thing in technology will be. What we kind of need to prepare for, and what probably every technology strategy will have to be measured against. And what I would urge us all to do is to have a certain level of pragmatism with that, and not look at, innovation is still important. I will not, and it excites me still very, very much, all these the future technologies. But we need to look at what we have right now and the challenges that we have right now, and kind of improve from there. We have to deal with a huge paradox that we kind of want these big platforms and to interact with our customers more and more, and onboard more customers and scale our business. But we have this challenge that people want a great experience, and now we don't have these analog experiences anymore, or maybe even much less in the future when the lockdowns are lifted. But it needs to be an individual experience. So we kind of have this, almost like talking to a human, and it's a big challenge. And we want to onboard all these clients. We want an individual experience, and we don't want to expose ourselves to much bigger risk while doing this. And this is so we need a pragmatic mindset, in my opinion, to do this. And two other measures. I stole this from Steve Jobs, but basically this is what one of his big mantras was, that he said, you know, I don't care what technology you use, you need to work backwards from the user experience and look at the environment that we are in, a mobile environment, and basically make the best customer journey that you possibly can. And what you heard in the last years over and over, that mobile first, we need to develop for mobile first. But what does it mean? It means hire the best design team that you can. That's what it means, because from a big screen in a desktop environment, we go to a much smaller screen on a tablet and to an even smaller screen on a phone. And that's what the clients expect. These are the roads that are paved, 3.5 billion devices on the planet. And compared, I mean, look how horrible Windows looked back then, right? When we look at it now, it's just horrible. Windows 95 or something like that, which was revolutionary at that time, right? Because now 1 millimeter of a button to change the direction can make all the difference of a user just closing your app and never use it again, or if he has to wait 1 second too long. So this would be my first advice, really. Mobile first, hire the best designers that you can. And that's what we did. We did a major overhaul with our platform from summer till now. I think it looked good before. Now it's really good. I'm quite happy with it. It will be absolutely necessary for this environment for this digital channel. And the other main point I want to make is the flexibility, because the thing is, we don't know which scenarios will unfold. We can make, like I said, we can make some educated guesses and some assumptions, and your platform and especially the backend where you set all the rules, for example, for we have a factory platform. And if you want to implement a new product with certain fees or interest rates and these kind of things, and certain automation connected to that, so you don't have to do everything manually, you need to be able to define that without a lot of development, or you're not flexible enough. If you need to go to your software company and wait a couple of weeks, a couple of months for every change, that's not going to cut it. So if you're thinking about new IT systems, go through maximum flexibility there, just to be able to change things on a whim if necessary. And one thing is, one challenge that I this is my closing argument. One of the main challenges that I lined out is that we need to be able to handle many clients and give them a great user experience. And so we need to be able to cluster them in our solution. So we need to, some of them, they can be more automated. Maybe they don't pose as much of a risk, for example. So we don't have to look at everything manually. Some of them, we might define a workflow that's a little bit more manual. For example, if they are a new client. And another important point is to be able to handle all that volume, and that individualization is, for example, that you outsource work to your client in a way. That means if we do an OCR readout, optical character recognition of an invoice that is uploaded on a factoring platform, let them, for example, get the readout and let them correct it if there is a certain basis that it's wrong. Or let an AI pattern recognition software in the backend look at the invoice and see if it's a possibly fraudulent invoice. Look at the patterns of behavior of your client, and if you have some doubts, you can upload a request that you need further documentation of the invoice to make it harder to defraud you, to be able to through technology and through automation to concentrate on the most let's say, risky and life-saving tasks that you have in any given time. And I want to close with a quote of Charles Darwin, which is probably, if it's one thing that you take with this, think about flexibility, that it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the most responsive to change. And I think this is especially true in these times. Thank you.